William Lawrence Keating, this year's recipient of the Thompson G. Marsh Award, was born and raised in Chicago. Bill and his older brothers, Jim and Tom, were raised by their mother, Marge, who was a school teacher, and their father, Jim, who was a Chicago firefighter and battalion chief. The quality time Bill got to spend around the fire engines instilled a lifetime fondness for the sound of emergency vehicle sirens, preparing him early on for a career in plaintiff's personal injury law. The Keating family lived in a typical Chicago neighborhood, mostly Irish and Italian. Their house was only 2 doors away from St. Pete's, their church and grammar school. That proximity brought some problems for Bill. News of his every fault and classroom disturbance traveled quickly to his home. And when Bill was in 3rd grade, one of the nuns told his mom he was a problem child, always talking to the other kids in class. The nun said, "Marge, I'm going to put him over in the corner and call it the pre-law section." Apparently, Bill liked the idea and began to picture himself as a courtroom gunslinger. Sports were an important part of growing up in the Keating neighborhood, and the kids played Little League baseball, ice skated, and, importantly, played a lot of football. In 1958, when Bill entered St. Patrick's High School, he was 5 foot 4 inches and weighed only 110 pounds, so he wasn't big enough to make the football team. You gotta be a football hero. But by his junior year, he'd grown significantly and made the varsity team. He always suspected that his mom must have been putting human growth hormones in his lunchbox. About that time, he realized, you gotta be a football hero to get along with the beautiful girls. Get along with the beautiful girls. Bill did indeed begin dating a beautiful girl at St. Pat's, a red-headed colleen named Mary O'Brien, who had moved into the Keatings parish when Bill and she were in grammar school. She was the prom date from heaven. By the time Bill finished high school, his brother Jim was already in a PhD program in chemistry, and his brother Tom was playing football at the University of Michigan on a scholarship. Following in Tom's footsteps, Bill also earned a football scholarship at Michigan. In his junior year, Bill helped the Wolverines capture a Big Ten championship and head to the Rose Bowl, where they conquered Oregon State 34-7. Go Blue! In the Michigan-Purdue game, Bill's coach, Bump Elliott, called Bill to send in a play from the bench. And as he sprinted onto the field, Bill collided with a sports photographer. After stumbling another 20 yards, Bill fell flat on his face in full view of his friends, family, and 100,000 fans. By the time he got to the huddle, he'd totally forgotten what the play was. Well, that was the only game the Wolverines lost that year, and was a valuable lesson in humility for a future trial lawyer.
Here we go!
After his college graduation, Bill considered applying for law school, but he postponed that decision when asked to sign as a free agent with the Denver Broncos. He made the team as a guard and defensive tackle and played during the 1966 season. He even got to play against his brother Tom, who starred for 12 seasons with the dreaded Oakland Raiders. The mud, the grime, the clawing and gouging well prepared Bill for his future career. At the end of that season, in January 1967, Bill and his red-headed childhood sweetheart were wed in Chicago. Bill went on to play for the Broncos for part of that following season, but he was then cut and traded to the Miami Dolphins. The next summer, he was in camp with the Oakland Raiders, but was again cut. 3 teams in 3 years. Bill began to get the hint. Bill came back to Denver. As he puts it, as an English degree holder and an ex-football player, he was functionally unemployable. So it was time to enter DU Law School. Mary also returned to college to complete her degree.
We went to grammar school together. So I have known Bill for many years. We grew up together. We are married for 46 years. There aren't many mysteries. What else can I say? I hope you can cut this. It's just been a good run.
Bob Yagi was the new dean at the law school, and Ved Nanda was a popular professor who looked as young as the students. He still does. Among Bill's favorite professors were Bill Beeney, Bill Huff, Jim Wallace, and Howard Rosenberg. DU provided Bill with a full academic scholarship for his last 2 years of law school, and his participation in the county court trial practice program clinched his decision to become a trial lawyer. After graduation, he landed a law clerk position with 10th Circuit Judge Robert McWilliams. The good judge was a bit befuddled when Bill showed up for the first day with a special crop of 1960s-style facial hair. Well, Bill treasures his time with Judge McWilliams, who, in Bill's words, exuded a sense of respect, love, and reverence for the law. He set a truly high standard that Bill hoped to emulate. Following his clerkship, Bill worked with Marshall Fogel and Bob Wagner at Ashen and Fogel, and later they worked together at their own law firm, Fogel, Keating, and Wagner. They took any piece of business that got them into the courtroom. Bob Wagner has been a lifetime mentor for Bill. He has been what Bill thinks every Irish Catholic lawyer needs, a rabbi.
If Bill has been gracious enough to describe me as his mentor, it's really the other way around. Bill has made me a better lawyer, a better person, and it's just been a privilege to practice with him for all of these years.
Bill and Mary's 2 children, Mike and Katie, have both been among Bill's lifetime mentors. Mike is a 2001 graduate of the Sturm College of Law at DU. Bill claims that his daughter Katie, a graduate of Denison University, has been his psychological counselor since she was about 10 years old.
Very much we grew up in a legal household, but you know, I think he, as much as he is an attorney, he's very much, I think, also maybe a hidden Broadway star. So there's a house that was full of tons of games, and he has an awful voice and he can't sing, but he sings a lot and he tries to be, you know, always the performer.
And get this, Mike is now the managing shareholder of Keating, Wagner, Polidori Free PC.
He certainly was an inspiration to live life like we preach. He also was an inspiration simply because he is a terrible singer and he always dresses up. He does actually like to dress up quite often. He dresses up as Toulouse-Lautrec often, and he likes to sing Broadway tunes.
Mike met his wife, Sarah Beth, the night before he gave a closing argument, and he proposed to her the night after his closing argument in a civil case. Mike and Sarah Beth have very recently made Bill and Mary proud grandparents for the first time. Mike and Katie Keating's daddy, Bill, continues to be a mature influence in their lives. It goes to show what playing football without a helmet can do to a person. Nevertheless, Bill is a role model for the entire office.
He's a pretty funny guy, but after, he tends to tell the same jokes over and over. And after about the second telling, you're sitting around, and very bad at accents, and he likes to use accents. So he does have some shortcomings. So let me tell you.
The firm's most recent shareholder is the Honorable Christina Havas of the Denver District Court. Tina, of course, adds to the solemnity of the firm. As for the family, they remain as serious and stolid as you would expect. Bill has taken up cycling in more recent years, though he is no Lance Armstrong. Among Bill's cycling companions are John Estuno and Bill's former courtroom adversary, Hugh Gottschalk.
The thing from that vacation that I remember most about Bill, and it is just fits his personality exactly, is midday going into a bar in a cafe in a very, very small town. And within 15 minutes of walking into this little cafe in the middle of nowhere in France, Bill knew everybody. Bill had exchanged names and email addresses with everybody, and everybody loved Bill. And that's who Bill Keating is.
And how's this for a segue? Over his 40 years of practice, our honoree Bill has distinguished himself with many professional associations and honors. For year after year, he's been recognized as a super lawyer, and he was once the centerfold, cover boy for the Super Lawyer publication. But the most remarkable of all his achievements has been his annual emceeing of the DU Law Stars Dinner. Tonight, does Bill Keating deserve to be selected for the Thompson G. Marsh Award? You be the judge. Please join us now in congratulating the recipient of the 2012 DU Law Stars Thompson Marsh Award, William L. Keating.